my live. I just first of all want to apologise because within the last 2 hours I've just filled up with a cold. So gone from not having one to suddenly having one. So if I sound like odd and hopefully I'm not going to be sniffing too much. Got water and a tissue, but it was so close to going live. I really thought I should just come on and get on with it. So welcome along. And I'm going to share with you a little technique about adding colour to the stamp. It's just one way, there's lots of different ways to do it, but really wanted to share that with you today. So let's go over to the desktop and we will get started. So I'm going to be using this uh, um, stamp set, Sending Smile. Sorry, I'll just check that it's all going. Always like to just make sure before I get going. So I'm using Sending Smiles, which is one that's been out for a little while, but I love it, and I thought it was the perfect one to actually share with you today with this technique. So it's got these gorgeous daisy images, and what I really like about it is the dies that come with it actually give you not only options for cutting out the flowers and the stems and the leaves, etc., but it also has these words which are fantastic. The sending, you can cut out the base, which I'll show you shortly, and the words to go inside. So like the shadow effect of the words, which is really, really great. Okay, so let's get started. I'll pop that to one side. And it is a photopolymer stamp, so I will be using my mat. And there's these dimensionals, they get everywhere, don't they? A photopolymer stamp. So just grabbing this stem here, and I'm going to start off with, I've got all my inks lined up over here. So when you're doing this, it's quite good to add sort of a lightish colour and then add to a darker colour. So I'm going to start off with Granny Apple Green, and I am going to ink up. I probably should have opened the second pad while I was there. I'm going to ink up, and then my second colour is Mossy Meadow. So this is a way of giving shadow to your stamps without colouring. So as we all know, we've got the gorgeous stamping blends, which automatically you can use dark and light to add colour. For this, I'm just daubering on some Mossy Meadow on top of my Granny Apple Green. So adding that, and it just gives different lights, light and dark highlights. Probably not as visible as what you're going to see with the flower. So I'll just add some down the bottom, maybe, and on the tip, just so you can see a bit better. Doesn't show up that well, but I can probably see it better than you can from there. There's the dark, you can see the darker shades on there. Okay, so for the flowers, just flip that round and close those. I'm going to use Sweet Sorbet as my main colour, and I'm going to use Merry Merlot as my darker colour. So I'm going to grab my stamp and my dauber. I'm going to ink up in Sweet Sorbet, and then I'm just going to add some of this Merry Merlot to the middle, and then step. And you can see how darker it is in the middle and lighter out towards the edges. And let's do this one. So it just really adds a bit of dimension into your stamp, a bit of extra colour. And just the tip really is to always start with the light colour, inking up with the light colour, and daubering on the darker colour. You can see that. light to dark there. I just think it is so effective. I'll do one more. And I will just add some in the middle here. There you go. Right, and then of course we've got to add, now I did try and dauber with the centerpiece with a bit of orange, but it actually didn't show up that well, so I thought I would just not worry about it, because it sort of has elements on the stamp that give it sort of depth anyway. And then there is this one. Oops, and I've done that in red. Well, that's very handy, isn't it? So I won't do that one. I'll just show you. I have done them, and then I have already die cut them out. Okay. So this is them all die cut out, ready to go. So as I say, the dies do match with the elements in the stamp set, as well as the extra for the words, etc. Okay, so next I'm just going to grab a smaller piece of Whisper White, I was going to say, basic white cardstock, and I'm just going to add, I don't want to add a lot of colour. This is Coastal Cabana. I'm just going to add a little bit down one edge. So always tap off when you go to blend, just in case there's any blobs of colour on your ink pad that have got onto your blending brush, and then you pop it on and end up with this horrible mess, and you're very frustrated. Especially hard if you've built up the colour and it's sort of like the last bit of blending that you're doing, and it goes on with a blob. It is very frustrating. So I hope everyone is well. Thank you so much for joining me. And there we go, just down there like that. Okay, so pop that to one side. I'll start putting this together. I actually think I want to have that on the left. So I am going to grab my mini dimensionals and use some of those. These come in quite handy for this sort of thing when you have smaller areas. There we go. And might be just a strip for that one. I was going to pre-do this, but ran out of time. It'll take a minute though. I'm just going to run a bit down there. So, as I say, this is a set that has been out. It's in the annual catalogue. Now, I must admit, I'm very, very, I wouldn't say naughty, but once the new stuff comes out, I tend to forget about the gorgeous other stamp sets and things that are still current and still available in the catalogues. And I was just looking for something else and saw this and thought, oh, this will be perfect. Okay, so let's pop that over to there a little bit. And then I'm going to pop this one on as well. I don't think I'll put any on the stem. So it comes the time too, in May we will be getting a new annual catalogue, which is super exciting. Then you start to look at some of the stamps you've got and think, oh gosh, I better get some more use out of that, it might be gone soon. So yes, just advising you to give a bit of love to your old stamps as well as your new stamps. Right. Oops. And a bit there. I've got some cards at the end to share that are sort of a beginner's card and sort of a little bit more advanced as we go. I'm just going to lift that a little bit and put that there, I think. There we go. Right, these are easy. I'll get the bigger ones for these. And you need a couple, don't they? So I've been doing quite a bit of watercolouring lately. So I really wanted to get out my blending brushes as well. Okay. And you hear the crickets going, a cicada's going out there. Having a wonderful Indian summer. So nice for me when I'm actually got my craft room in the garage. So when I open the garage door, it's actually like sitting outside, which is fabulous. Okay, so using that same technique, I'm going to just add a couple of these groups of flowers, and I'm going to use the reds again. And just going to add ink up in Sweet Sorbet and just dab a little bit of this on. Put some here. Much on that time. There we go, that's better. And maybe one more. Just using the edge this time. Okay. And make that one just a little bit bigger. There we go. Right, let's put those pads away. And we'll start popping it together. So I'm using the Country Gingham for this. I'm really into gingham at the moment, I must admit. And gingham and flowers seem to go really nicely together. This Country Gingham has got some lovely gingham patterns. Okay. And I'll put that on there. It doesn't take long to add the colour to those images and stamp them, I must admit. Now I have done those flowers coming off the edge intentionally, as you can probably see. Okay, and I will use some dimensionals for that. Okay. So who's got this set out there? I'm sure you've made some gorgeous cards with it. Right. Next, I've got some of this beautiful seam binding ribbon, the white seam binding ribbon. Just going to tie a bow. Try and keep it flat. Yeah. Tend to twist my ribbon as I'm pulling it through, I think, so try and keep it flat when I'm doing it. There we go. And I'm just going to pop that there. With a glue dot. Love this ribbon, and it's so easy to colour too. I could have, I guess I could have coloured it red or something if I'd wanted. You just need to use your Stampin' Blends, and you can make that any colour that you like. Just trim this one down a bit. Right, now the next thing, and I forgot to do that. Oh, hopefully that's going to be easy to stamp on, because I've forgotten to add happy birthday to that, and this could end up being a bit of a disaster. Well, the worst that can happen is I stamp it again on a piece of white cardstock and put it on the top. So here we go. I'm going to stamp on an uneven surface and without my foam. No, it's not too bad, actually, not too bad at all. I can colour that in. Okay. So I've already pre-die cut the words. So this is the one die cut, which is the base, and I've done that in white, so it's like the shadow, and this is the word. So you can stamp that as well, but I've die cut it. That gives you that option. So I should have done this on the adhesive sheet, which every time I do this and have this to stick on, I think, oh, I should have used the adhesive sheet. So hopefully you've got a better memory than me if you've got them. It makes it so much easier to put this sort of thing on when you don't have to try and get the smallest amount of glue around. Okay. Oops, it's wobbling around. There we go. Now the other thing, I kept the dot stays in the die, so I've left it in there so that I can get it out and use it. Such a tiny wee thing. That's, oops, just going to put that there. And put it on. There we go. That makes it easy. And I won't put any dimensionals in the middle because that's going to go over there. So I'm just going to put them on the outside. And there. Oops. Hopefully that's not too big. Nope. And might just get half one for there. Long scissors. Right. Go. One is poking out a little bit. Fix that. Okay. And pop that on. Sending birthday wishes. I just think it's so fresh and yeah, just really, oops, I haven't done this inside, so I'll do that now quickly. Really lovely, and adding that depth of colour to the images just really gives it that extra dimension. So I've just got a sweet sorbet base and a basic white matte. I like to give that back of the card some depth as well, so the card's not front heavy. And put that on. And one last thing, of course, which can't forget, is the gems. So these are the 2022 to 2024 decorative matte dots. Long word on long description that I will put on if it lets me. Okay. Just use one of these small ones. Put that there. Oops. And one more. Okay, and that is the card. Some gorgeous red daisies. So just looking at these other cards that I have, I'll just grab them. This is a very, very basic beginner's card, just using this beautiful die on that around the outside, but it's just all stamped. Really easy, just bright flowers and no die cutting at all. And then one of the stamps, you can do it either sticking up, I suppose you could say, or hanging down like wisteria. It's this one here. So I did it like that as a alternative to, and I have done the two tones on that as well. And then the other one that is similar to this one, just in a different colour, using the purples and the mint macaroon. So I hope you enjoy that. I hope you give that a go, adding colour to your stamps just with the dauber. It really does, I think, add some beautiful dimension and depth to your images, and bring out your old stamps and ones that you've forgotten for a little while, and have a play. I really, really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for stopping in. Please leave a comment and share. I really, really appreciate it. And see you next week. Bye.